for each section. Do you see a lot of growth with it when a customer adopts? What kind of growth do you see from that, or is it?
That's a great question. So on an individual customer basis, I think I might have a slide that is. So this is a kind of a typical pattern we see where the customer starts with a pilot version of the system, they get it plugged in, and then as they gain confidence with it, what they typically do is they start moving testing instead of being more towards the production side, they start moving it closer towards the developers because they get more productivity the closer they move testing to the developer. And the ultimate is to be able to do what's called per commit testing, which is basically there's tests on the developer's code before it gets committed to the build. And that creates a lot of usage, but also creates the greatest productivity benefit for the customer.
What are some of the alternatives people use today for
alternatives to doing instead of using SOS? You mean the single biggest alternative is do it yourself. And, you know, it's like classic open source story. It's free if you value your time at zero.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Selenium as a framework. How do you see this evolving with other frameworks? Because, you know, as I grow and I look at different environments, different types of applications, I mean.
Could you give me an example of another framework you're thinking of?
Internally, enterprise, you know, grown tools, build system, you know.
Oh, so I see your question now. So the thing, you know, I mentioned, and everybody, I guess, took it as face value, that Selenium has dominated the marketplace. One of the parameters of that is that if you go to GitHub, you go to code.google.com and just search on Selenium, you'll find that there's about 1,000 active open source projects that are Selenium related. So the beauty of Selenium is it works for any browser, any operating system, any language. And so there's glue and connectors and interfaces for all the pieces of that puzzle in terms of unit test frameworks, Jenkins, so on and so forth. So it just works.
Don't laugh at the premise of this question, but
no.
Assuming that browsers are all HTML5 compliant, will there be less need to use that for browsers?
So can I say IE6 without getting in trouble here?
People use that?
The ugly truth is that most of our customers have to support IE6. We make a joke out of that. Our website's purposely broken on IE6 because none of our customers use IE6. But the rest of the world doesn't have that luxury. And so there remains a long variety of legacy browsers that our customers have to support. But to speak to the intent of your question, HTML5 aims to solve a lot of the ills of cross-browser compatibility. What never goes away is, on the mobile side, is the fact that every mobile platform is fundamentally different, and our customers want to be able to be confident that their web application works on virtually every mobile as well as a desktop browser. So the need to be able to confirm that this stuff still works before I ship never goes away.
WebKit doesn't solve that either?
No, it doesn't.
Typically, what's saying we got 400 customers, and so what's your average ASP? Typically,
so if you take out my largest customer, who I can't mention by name, and then you take an average across the rest of the customers, we average north of $150 per month per user.
Per user, so
per customer, per account.
Oh, per account. Okay.
Put it in different terms, what we see is a range of between $300 and $3,000 per year per developer in the account. Mm-hmm. So when I go through that math, this is a pretty big marketplace when you take into account that there's 6.6 million software developers on the planet. Web-focused software developers. Right.
What's the biggest thing you've learned over the past year, you know, from being here to there?
Oh, biggest thing that we've learned is that it pays to be persistent. I'm going to take a liberty and say go back a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago, people really fought with us about the idea of a permanent pricing model. They felt that was unfair. They didn't like the unpredictability of it. But what's happened in the last year and a half is the world has become much more comfortable with and familiar with the idea of consumption-based, resource consumption-based business models.
Other questions? Questions from out here?
I'm curious about your cloud infrastructure, obviously, because when you're talking about doing round routing a big pool.
Good question. The gentleman's asking about our infrastructure. How are you doing this? Are you round robining your infrastructure, what have you? It's a classic example of my previous company was a PC appliance, and what SOS is doing is, in effect, a cloud appliance. We're solving a very specific problem that's got specific performance issues, and having the clear knowledge of how that system works from a application processing point of view gives you insights into how you can make that go faster. But that connection diagram that I showed you, that is a result of the pool of machines that are available that have done predictive scheduling of the, I think it's 7 different kinds of VMs that we have to be able to field, so we're doing predictions on that. That said, it takes us under 40 seconds to field a new pristine virtual VM to replenish the inventory. We've got some tricks up our sleeve, and we're anticipating getting that under 10 seconds within the next quarter.
So you've done some kind of fixed hypervisor?
Yes, we've done detailed, deep work in the virtualization process.
Steve, did you have a question? Did I see your hand go? No. Picking on you. Anybody else with
Anybody
questions?
else?
I mean, it seems to me like, especially, I wonder about the enterprise side, and maybe this isn't a strong enough area for them yet, but, well, I mean, you had enterprise customers.
We've got a growing and
pretty
exciting
good list.
group of enterprise customers.
The enterprise, I mean, people get all excited about the cloud, and in reality, the adoption rate is not as high in the enterprise as people would think. But this seems like, the perfect opportunity. So I would imagine then that the enterprise is pretty.
Well,
pretty
it's an
relevant
evolving
target customer.
space. The crucial criteria, we sort of qualify ruthlessly how we spend our time because we're a small company. Are you already invested in automation? Are you releasing software frequently? And if so, we can help. If that's not yet that important to you, let's keep in touch and circle back when that is. And we're finding that there's this rising tide of interest coming from that area because fundamentally, the marketplace is a competitive marketplace, and the faster you deliver new value to customers, the better off you are competitively in the marketplace, and so it's a great place to be.
Great. Okay, thank you. Good job.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.